have the Morton County Extension staff here today, Jackie Buckley, Carla Mickle, and Vanessa Hoynes. And we're back after a 2-week hiatus, I guess we'll call it. And I'm going to talk about Dairy Cow College, some other activities and events coming up. There's a scout school coming up, a little bit about North Dakota Genesis Barley, and the North Dakota Crop Improvement Association is having its annual meeting next week, and anything else that we might come to. And Vanessa, how about you?
I'm going to talk about a caregiver series that actually is starting today, so there still is time to get involved with that if you're interested. I'm also going to talk about ways to use bread and why we should be including bread in our diets, and then also ways to maintain our muscle strength during these colder temperatures when we're more apt to sit on the couch and snuggle in. Also some healthy ways to cook, especially if you're coming home from work and you're more tempted to go through the drive-through rather than going home and cooking something. I have some tips for you.
Me.
Yeah, I think pick everybody. That's why I thought this is something I should share. I think that'll be it.
Okay, and this is Carla, and 4-H, I have some news here of an event we had here about a week ago, or a week and a half ago, and the results from archery contest. I also have some information on Giving Hearts Day, which is fast approaching, of course, the week of Valentine's Day, and I have an interesting opportunity for leadership out there that is available here coming up the end of April, but we got some interesting information on it, and I just wanted to share. It's called Ignite Legendary Leaders Conference, so we'll talk about that as well.
Okay, and so I guess I'll start out with is that the Agri International is like 2 weeks away, and we are stuffed up to with kids.
The gills.
The gills, yes, with the kids. With kids, we have close to 1,400 kids coming this year to Agri International. We're very happy about that. That's the largest group we've ever had. Almost all of them are fourth graders, and the commodity groups are getting ready with their booths, and we're getting ready for that session the 9th and 10th of February. And so we're excited to be having that many kids.
Always
at
a
that
fun
event.
time to
Yes,
have all that energy bottled up into one room.
Yeah, it just buzzes in there when
Yes.
you're everybody.
And if anybody's wondering, we don't have all 1,400 at one time.
Right, yeah, right.
But 300 at a time is quite a few. Or a
Yes,
couple
yeah,
hundred.
and one of the sessions is about 300
Really?
kids that we have. And so there's 13 booths that will be participating. Examples like Wheat Commission, Beef Commission, the honey people, the soybean, North Dakota Department of Ag, NDSU Extension, of course, the milk producers, Farm Bureau, Morton County Soil Conservation District, and the Mandan FFA chapter are helping as well. Let me see. I'm trying to think if I forgot somebody.
Bean growers?
Yeah, bean growers, Nor Harvest Bean, and then the soybean people and the Corn Council will also be here. And so I think that names about all of them, and we're excited to work with that event again for the kids and educate youth about agriculture.
Yeah, it's fun for them to see that food doesn't come from the grocery store.
Right, right.
And most of them are getting some good practice because this week up in Minot is their ag show. And I visited with an extension agent here this morning from up that way, and they were headed to ag in the classroom. So I know they're practicing up.
Yep, and I believe the one in Fargo is the last week of February. And
Oh,
so
okay.
they are going to be really jam-packed full of stuff when by the time they get going on that event. So, yeah, and I know that Minot is this week, and then there's a big ag show up there as well. And so I think it starts today.
Yeah.
Yep. Just as a reminder for dairy producers that might be listening out there is that the Dairy Cow College will be held next week. It starts on Monday with the event in New Salem, and then we might have some people that might be interested in going to the Dickinson location because that is on Tuesday at the Ram Dakota Lodge in Dickinson. And Kurt Freilich is ramrodding that event. And then the one on Monday is at the Morton County Fairgrounds in New Salem. We'll start about 11 o'clock in the morning, go till 3 o'clock. The first thing is that we'll have a registration and coffee about 10:30. And then the first thing on the agenda will be the dairy checkoff highlights. And with that, that's really kind of a fun thing because we get the sneak preview of the new commercials that ADA and Midwest Dairy are going to be doing over this next year. And so we see a lot of the television commercials and is it Play 60?
Fuel Up to Play 60.
Fuel Up to Play 60. They're big behind that event. And so
that's a big partnership with the NFL.
Yep. Right. And so, yes, we're excited about that. Also, the American Dairy Association and the Milk Producers Association will hold their local district meeting at that event. And then in the afternoon, after lunch, we will have current dairy production and management topics. And so J.W. Schroeder, who just retired at the end of December, has agreed to take a part-time appointment for the next 6 months, and he will be presenting at that event. And J.W. has been with the Extension Service for over 40 years, and so we're excited that J.W. is willing to work with us on that.
So he wasn't as tired as he thought he was.
Yes. Yes.
He'll have to retire later.
Yes. And so Jim is signaling us for a break, and I'll continue this topic of conversation after the break.
Super Talk 1270, home of the Bismarck Bobcats and high school sports. Listen online or anywhere on the Radio Pub app. Super Talk 1270.
Welcome back to the Extension Connection. And as we started, we have the Morton County staff here today, and we are live in the studio. If you'd like to call the studio, it's 663-1270. You can sure call us, or you can call us at our office at 667-3340. And before we went on break, I was talking about the Dairy Cow College, and some of the other topics that we'll be discussing are what constitutes an empty bunk. And so sometimes cows are picky at what they eat. And so isn't a bunk empty or is it not? Okay, and so that's what we're going to visit about. Are the cows, are refusing to eat some certain feeds? There is such a thing as a feed bunk scoring system, dairy feed auditing, using total mixed ration mixers with wagon variables, the cost-benefit ratio of feed bunk decisions, and then JW is going to cover all that, and then I'm going to visit about storage and handling of vaccines and antibiotics. And then also JW is going to give an update on the dairy specialists search progress and where we're at with that position. And so we're looking to hire somebody for that. And so that, once again, is next Monday, February 1st in New Salem and February 2nd in Dickinson. It's February 3rd in Linton at Chem Electric, and February 4th in Jamestown at the Gladstone Inn. You can contact any of those extension offices if you would like more information about that event. Okay, we are still taking sign-ups for ND Genesis Barley, which is a 2-row barley that just recently has been approved by the Malting Barley Association, the American Malting Barley Association. And so it was released in 2015. And we had 2 growers in Morton County, and we're taking sign-ups for this barley, if you're interested. We have about 1,600 bushels to sign up for, and then after February 1st, that barley can go to other counties. And so we want to give the Morton County producers their just due to make sure that they sign up in time before February 1st, because after that time we can release it to other counties in the state. Like to remind producers that the North Dakota Crop Improvement Association meeting will be held February 3rd and 4th in Minot. And that is at the Grand Hotel, which is the hotel on North Broadway in Minot. And the first day is basically board meetings and board of directors things going on. Thursday is the day that producers might like to attend. In that morning, there is a Dakota Select Seeds meeting, and that starts at 7:15 a.m., and then there is committee meetings in the morning starting at 8:15, Certified Seed Committee, Research and Extension Committee, Resolutions and Bylaws Committee meeting. And then the business meeting will be held from 9 to 10:30. And Del Gates from up in the Mohall area will be presiding. He's the State Crop Improvement Association president. And then Dr. Adnan Accuse, he's the weather climatologist from North Dakota State University, will be talking about local perspective of natural resources and agriculture in climate change. And then at during the noon lunch, Your Role in America's Farm Table, Katie Pinky will be visiting with the producers at that time. And then we'll have noon lunch, and we'll be giving away the Premier Seed Grower Award and then a Distinguished Service Award at that time. And election of officers will be held with the board after that time. And then if you're really interested in getting into some crop scouting, March 1st and 2nd marks the date for the Western Crop and Pest Management School, and that will be held at the Grand International Inn this year in Minot. We rotate that event between Bismarck and Minot, and so this year it will be held in Minot, and there's lots of scouting information and really a good update on what's going on in the crop industry and soybeans, sunflowers, and all the small grains. And it's a really good opportunity for producers to attend. The cost is $150, includes all your meals. If you're interested, contact our office at 667-3340 if you would like to register for that event. And then also we have in the office all of the hard red spring wheat and barley and winter wheat, the alternative crop selection guides, and all the variety trial results. We have those available in the office if you're interested in those. And of course, they're also online. But if you would like a hard paper copy, please feel free to call our office and we can get those to you in more information. Also, the new 2016 North Dakota Field Inspection Seed Guide is out. And if you're interested in growing some certified seed or registered seed, you can find all the sorts of different variety names in that book. And it also talks about the plant variety protection information that you will need to do. Maybe producers that are on maybe the northern tier of counties in North Dakota. There is also guidelines for varieties licensed in Canada, and those rules are different than those of us that aren't North Dakota growers as well. And so you can bring seed across the border, but you need some special paperwork that you need to fill out. And so
Really exciting time of year for producers.
Yes,
so
it
check
is.
up on all the new stuff that's coming out.
Yes, and all the new machinery, because there's farm shows all over the state and in South Dakota. So producers will have that opportunity to go and look at those for sure.
New stuff, new wish list, and
Well, before we go to break, I don't know where we're at. Let's see, where are we at here? We have about 5 minutes. Vanessa, do you want to continue?
Sure, yeah. I mentioned I have a program that's actually starting today. It's called Powerful Tools for Caregivers. It's a series of classes every Wednesday from 2 to 3:30. And even if you're just hearing about it right now, if you're interested and are available to come today, we'd love to have you. If you are hearing about it but would like to come and you can't come today, just call my office at 667-3340. We'll get you signed up, and we'd love to have you join us at the second time if you can't come today. But no, you're welcome today. It's being held at Good Shepherd Lutheran Church in Bismarck. And some of the things you can expect, what we're doing is getting together folks who are caring for someone, whether it's a spouse, a child, a parent, anybody who is a caregiver. And being a caregiver can be anything from being responsible for taking somebody to doctor's appointments, to buying their groceries, to being their transportation, anything from that all the way up to being a 24-hour caregiver. And I think we all know of people that are in that continuum from one end to the other. And so what do? We really talk about in the next 6 weeks, sharing tools that can be helpful for the caregiver to help them reduce stress, to help improve their self-confidence, We talk about ways to balance your life, so that many times caregivers put their life on hold during this process of caregiving, and many times it goes on for an extended period of time, and so that is very difficult and actually wears out the caregiver, and obviously that isn't good for the person that they're caring for either. We also talk about tips on ways to better communicate your feelings. Many times it's difficult to ask for help, and so we talk about how to do that, and what are the roadblocks that stop you from doing that, and how can we get over those. We also talk about ways to increase ability to make those tough decisions. Sometimes there are decisions that we need to make in regards to the care of our loved one. Maybe we just have to get to a point where we realize we can't do this all anymore, and we need to look for other outside resources. And so how do we do that, and how do we make that decision? And then also learning ways to locate some of those local resources that can help us out, because sometimes we get so isolated. And so if this sounds like something that could be helpful to you or to someone you know, please encourage them to either come today at 2 o'clock at Good Shepherd Lutheran Church. You're welcome to just pop in. We'd love to have you. Or if you can give us a call and register and join us next week, that would be great. There is a registration fee of $50, but don't let that stop you. If there is an issue, we can find resources to help cover that, or at least cover part of it if we can.
With that, though, you hand out some very valuable information, including, I believe I saw a book that you hand out.
Yes, they get, and that's really the primary cost of the program is the cost of the book, in addition to all the other materials and things that we do. So yes, it's well worth the money, but I do recognize too that sometimes folks that are caregiving, resources can be really strapped, and so we do have ways that we can help with that too. So don't let that be your roadblock from coming. Yeah, and it's an opportunity to get together with other folks who are all, in a similar situation, and get to have some other networks and connections with folks that really understand.
And really, that could be, you and I talked before about this, and that could be a situation where you are a caregiver, and perhaps, like in my situation, being able to recognize, when that caregiver needs help and stuff like that. So me as a daughter, to attend something like this, and I know ways that I can help out my mom and my dad both.
Right.
So,
yeah, and I've had combinations. I've had mother and daughter come, for example, and the person that they're caring for is dad, and obviously mother has a different vantage point than daughter does, but they both are in need of some retooling and just taking a stop in their tracks and kind of taking a look and perusing at what we are doing, and if we don't change this, how will that impact myself, and how will it impact the whole family?
Right.
And there are many reasons why sometimes other family members aren't helping. Sometimes they can't, or sometimes they just can't deal with their loved one changing, and not that dad isn't the same as he used to be, and so I don't even want to be around, and so therefore I'm not helping. And so how do we get kind of over some of those things? But I think we need to take a break, and we'll be back, and I'll be talking about day-old bread and what can we do with that.
Currently, it's 43.
Mary Lou Henner, weekdays on Super Talk 1270.
And we're back with the Extension Connection. This is Vanessa Hoynes and the Morton County Extension staff. And before the break, I mentioned we were going to talk about bread. Many times bread gets kind of a bad rap. Lots of those funky diets that people go on. Many times the grains group is one of those that gets cut. But bread can be not only really very useful in a variety of recipes, but it's also a good source of carbohydrates. And of course, carbohydrates is one of the things that fuels our body, gives us energy to do all the things that we need to do. And bread also provides the B vitamins, including thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, and folic acid. And the B vitamins many times also help our body use energy, and they're related to our attitude and our emotional well-being. And so especially during this time of the year when we have issues with people not getting enough sunshine and all those kinds of things, and we can have attitude adjustments that we need. Bread is important to remember. It's also a good source of iron. And of course, if you're choosing whole grain bread, that's also a good source of fiber, and so important to strive to make half of your grain choices come from whole grains. So we want to choose our bread wisely, and then also being able to be more cost effective. And so, as Carla was just saying, she likes to go to the used bread store.
Day old bread store. And I know what it is, but I always tell my mom, I'm going to use bread store just to be funny.
No, and I thought I thought it was funny. So I thought it was
funny.
worth sharing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So she doesn't get used bread; she
No,
gets day old bread. Yeah.
I'm sorry to all those bread stores out there. I'm sorry.
No. So have you ever had a loaf of bread that becomes moldy or stale on your countertop? You know,
heavens, yeah.
It gets some fuzziness going on. And I think all of us have had some colorful, fuzzy surprise when we opened up a bag of bread. And so, you know, a lot of times there are different ways that we sometimes store bread in the refrigerator. And that does slow down the rate at which it will grow mold. So it does help in that regard. However, refrigerating bread actually speeds the staling of it. So it does get stale more quickly. Refrigerated bread becomes stale 6 times faster than bread that's sitting at room temperature. However, freezing bread, on the other hand, actually delays that staling. So if you do go to the used bread store and buy several loaves, the best thing to do is to put the ones that you're not going to use right away into the freezer. But if your bread becomes moldy, you do need to throw it away. However, stale bread can be revived by, most of us do this by toasting or otherwise heating it. And actually, that heating process, it's not just a matter of that. The heating process actually rejuvenates the chemical makeup of the bread. And so here, a little chemistry lesson today. The staling of bread originally was studied in the early 1850s. And staling is not merely the loss of moisture, which I think a lot of us think of that, well, we'll just toast it because it's already dry. Well, it's not really dry. We make it drier when we toast it. It's more the heating process that makes it better. So the early food scientists sealed the bread in containers and measured the moisture content. And they noted that that there was no change in the moisture content. So the water was still present in the stale bread. But instead, during the staling, the bread becomes firmer and the tiny starch granules in the crust change their alignment in the bread. And the starch granules squeeze out the water into other areas of the crumb. And so it only seems like it's drier, it's just actually changing its chemical makeup. And so that's why in the process of whenever we heat it, it actually redistributes that moisture back into a form that we're more usual, that's more usual. Same thing if you have a bun that has kind of gotten a little bit stale, and you put it in the microwave and heat it up a little bit, that becomes, it seems like it's fresh.
Yeah, nice and soft.
yeah, it seems like it's fresh, and that's actually what's happening, is that you're kind of realigning those starch granules again. And so a good reason to buy that less expensive bread and use it in different ways. And so some different ways that you can, not pass up a bargain on bread. And you can usually use a variety of different breads that you can using these different ways. And I mentioned you can freeze bread. It's important to label that package with the date you froze it. Usually bread will remain at high quality for about 3 months in your freezer, recognizing that you want to make sure that you have a freezer thermometer and maintain at least a low temperature of 0 or lower. You can make croutons or breadcrumbs just by cutting that bread into cubes or tear it into small pieces and then bake them at 350 degrees until they're dry and brittle. And then you can use those crumbs, you can crush them with a rolling pin, add other seasonings, and of course you can use that to coat fish or pork chops or other foods that you might want, or chicken that you might want to coat with that and create a different meal. You can always also use bread as a meat extender. So if you have these breadcrumbs that you have made or croutons, you can add them to ground beef and make a meatloaf or meatballs. Adding that extra bread also helps to stick them together so that your meatballs don't fall apart in your gravy. You can also make lots of day-old type recipes. You can use day-old bread, French toast, many breakfast casseroles. Bread pudding is also another great way to use stale bread. You making a stuffing or dressing, grilled cheese sandwiches, or any kind of sandwich that you would heat up, toast, or in that way. Egg salad on toast, garlic toast can be another way to do that. And we are going to share on our website and on Facebook some recipes that you can try out for a breakfast casserole, a bread pudding. I also have a chocolate bread pudding that might be a fun favorite that you can serve with strawberries or blueberries and whipped topping, and maybe even a drizzle of chocolate to really jazz it up. So some great ways to use that used bread.
So I guess I have another question. Is that because I think of this, I don't know how many times I've been at home at the farm and I open up the cookies and there's a piece of bread inside. Would day-old bread be good for that, or has it already lost some of its moisture and probably not so good to keep in the cookie?
Okay, I don't know if I know what you mean.
Oh.
That you have a cookie with the bread?
No, like in the cookie jar, okay? Or in the
a slice of bread.
Yeah, there's a slice of bread to keep the cookies moist.
Oh, well, and that can help. Actually, even better is a slice of an apple or something like that has even more moisture.
Okay.
But you're right, cookies would be the same way, that if they are frozen,
Yep.
they're going to be kept much better. And if you put them in the refrigerator, they probably won't have that same staleness.
Okay.
They're going to be kept pretty well there too, because they're just a little bit different makeup. They don't have as many air pockets
Okay.
as
Yeah, I
as
just
bread would.
Just
Yeah.
wondering if the day-old bread inside the cookies would be the same as a regular piece. So anyways, yeah.
Well, usually cookies are not an issue.
No.
They get
Once in
eaten
a while.
They get eaten before they become
Yeah.
stale.
Yeah.
At least at my house they do. No.
Yeah.
But you're right. Anytime you can add some moisture in can help and keep them a little bit longer. Then the other thing I wanted to talk about was, as we mentioned, people many times we're getting off work, we're heading home, we're tired, we're hungry. It's much easier just to stop at a fast food restaurant on the way home, go through the drive-through instead of thinking about what could cook when I get home. And so an idea I might put out to you is to think about freezer cooking. And I don't mean cooking in the freezer. I mean thinking about some meals that you can cook ahead of time that you could have in the freezer. And so choosing some freezer friendly foods, boy, that's hard to say, like casseroles, soups, or stews, chili, or meatloaf, and perhaps cooking those things on days when you have a little more time, perhaps on the weekend, maybe on a given night. That would be the time when you'd take some time to do some cooking ahead of time. And when you do this, you can cool those dishes quickly before freezing, place them in a shallow container, and then refrigerate them uncovered until cool. Or you can also place them in containers in a bed of ice water to cool it faster. The faster you cool them, the faster they freeze, the better and the longer the quality will be in the freezer. To avoid freezer burn, making sure that you're using freezer type containers, whether it's a freezer Ziploc bag type, or if it's another freezer container, make sure that it is made to freeze things so that you have no air and moisture changing hands within the freezer. Storing food in smaller quantities also allows things to freeze more quickly, and then also gives you more flexibility so that if it's a single meal you need to have, or if you have 2 or 3 other people you need to serve, you can take out as many or as few as you'd like to. Really important is to use a permanent marker to label all the food that goes into the freezer. Making sure that you put in when you plan to use it by, and probably even more importantly, even though you think you're going to know what that is, I think a lot of us can attest to grabbing something to take to work for lunch, and you get there and you think you have soup and instead you have gravy.
Yep, that's happened to me.
So many times things change when they don't look exactly the way they did when you put them in. So making sure you label it properly so that you know when to use it by and exactly what it is. Is it taco meat? Is it chili? Is it a tater tot hot dish? What this might be, so you are sure about that. Also include if there are any other preparation steps that you need. Perhaps you're going to do a part of the preparation for a casserole, and you still need to add some other things to it when you thaw it out. And so consider that, making an additional note, or at least having handy cards so you don't have to dig through lots of things to find what else you need to add to that particular food. And of course, when you thaw it out, make sure you do that in the refrigerator. Thawing foods at room temperature can increase the risk of foodborne illness because bacteria will grow at room temperature. And so making sure that we're safe when we are thawing those things out. And I think this is a good way to try some new things out. It's also, if you are cooking for one or two, it's a way to perhaps make a batch of chili and then be able to put it into single serving containers so that you don't have to eat chili 4 times in a couple days. Instead, you can kind of spread that out and enjoy that chili later on. And many times things like chili, hot dishes, soups, and those kinds of things actually get better when we store them for a little while and then have them again and reheat them. The flavors meld better, and of course, it's always a joy to be able to have something that you didn't have to cook for a long period of time, and you were just able to heat it up and enjoy it with your favorite vegetable or fruits and maybe a nice hearty piece of bread. So with that, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with the Extension Connection.
Currently, it's 45.
Dave Ramsey is heard here. Super Talk 1270.
Welcome back to the Extension Connection. This is Carla, and the ladies here are making me giggle.
We're giving her the giggles.
So, again, the Morton County staff is with you today, and we are live in the studio and sharing all kinds of great stuff with the extension programs that we're doing. Just want to give some shout outs here to the Morton County 4-H archery team. They competed in an event here on January 16th, and we had a really great day. I was proud to say there's over 100 shooters from across the state there, and Morton County represented pretty well. I believe we had 22 shooters, and so that was a great day for Morton County. We held the event over at the Nishu Bowman Archery Complex. They're a great partner with 4-H here in the Bismarck, Mandan, Morton, Burley area. There's 3 age groups of shooters. Of course, we had the beginner freestyle team, which is ages 8 to 10. We have the junior team 11 to 13, and then our senior team is 14 to 18. Our beginner freestyle team, we took first place honors. Members of that team were Craig Cutter, Hadley Hedelvet, Kylie Thompson, and Kendra Bame. The junior freestyle team had a combined score of 417, so that's wonderful out of the 600 possible points that they could have had. Members of the junior freestyle team included Kinley Hedelvet, Peyton Goldaddy, Dawson Mills, and Jenna Thompson. They actually received first place in the junior division. So we took first in the beginner and the junior division freestyle. The junior freestyle also placed fifth overall. Team members include Clayton Marole, Samantha Cunningham, and Michaela Chassie. Top individual overall in the junior freestyle was Kinley with a 145. Senior team freestyle members took both second and third place respectively. And those team members included Braden Howes, Jacob Ellingson, Blake Hensley, and Tanner Bitts. And the third place team was Cody Muskie, Jade Ellingson, Bo Eider, and Cody Marole. And top senior freestyle went to Braden, who scored a perfect score of 300. So a really great day overall for Morton County 4-H Archery. Our next match is coming up in Candu on February 13th. And of course, there's other archery events here across the state for 4-H. If you're interested more in about 4-H shooting sports, please contact our office at 667-3340. Still getting quite a few calls to join the Morton County 4-H shooting sports team and questions about workouts that we have. So please feel free to call and ask questions. I'd be happy to share some information with you. The next thing I have is, it's actually coming up pretty fast. February 11th is Giving Hearts Day, and I was at a local business here this week, and I took a group photo, and that is currently on their website and also the North Dakota 4-H Foundation website. And Giving Hearts Day is really a day where you can give to your favorite organization, kind of a national day of
4-H.
giving. 4-H, exactly. 4-H, we'll keep saying it.
4-H.
And there's some matching funds. So if you pledge $10 or more, your funds are actually matched. So your $10 donation turns into $20. Your $100 turns into $200. And so please consider giving to your local favorite charitable organization, 4-H. And, because 4-H...
Did you say 4-H?
Exactly. We depend on those funds for state programming, whether it be the state livestock judging contest, consumer choices, the state fair opportunities that the kids have there with communication arts, Project Expo, fashion review, really endless activities, shooting, sports, livestock
4-H
judging,
ambassadors.
4-H ambassador program. It also helps support programming that the kids go on national trips to National 4-H Conference and National 4-H Congress. And so really you impact a lot of youth across the state of North Dakota. So if you have questions about Giving Hearts Day, please contact the office, or you can go to givinghearts.org and check out the different organizations that are on there. And if you're looking for 4-H, it's actually underneath North Dakota 4-H Foundation. And so just a great opportunity to give back to the community.
Will we have that link on our website?
We could do that, absolutely. We could put the link on our website and then also on our Facebook page as well. I did share it on the NDSU Extension Service Morton County website this morning. The local business actually forwarded me the picture and a nice little write-up that they had, so I posted that on there. But I'll put the link on our Facebook and our webpage for sure. Another event that I have to visit about, and this one here I didn't bring a copy, but is the Ignite Legendary Leaders Conference. And this conference is coming up in April, so it's quite a ways away, but it's something to really consider to attend. It's Wednesday evening, April 27th, and Thursday, April 28th. This is something that the NDSU Extension Service has been working on. More specifically, the Center for Community Vitality has been a great partner with this event. It's an opportunity for you to really involve your professional development and increase your network of contacts and resources. There'll be folks from across the state there. Grow your knowledge of entrepreneurship, personal leadership, and how to make an impact in your community, and gain new ideas to help your business, organization, or community. We will put this link on there as well. If you're interested, you can go and check out the speakers, the agenda, and the options. If you go to ndsu.edu/ignite, it has all the information on there about what the agenda is like. And again, there's quite a few different guest speakers. One thing that was really neat that was presented to me is opportunity for youth in our community to speak. And so there'll be a few youth that are coming in that will give a very brief talk about their leadership and how they have impacted their community. And then it also gives those youth an opportunity then to network with others, and perhaps, it could lead to potential jobs in the future, great references, or maybe some tools that they can use so that they can better their leadership style. So a really great opportunity.
And it's an opportunity, you can come as an individual from a community, or, perhaps you want to create a small team of individuals that want to come from the same community and gather tools that you can bring back and kind of be the catalyst in your smaller community to get something started.
Mm-hmm. And perhaps here in the future we can have Lynette join us by phone and talk a little bit more about that conference and the opportunities that she hopes to provide to North Dakota and our leaders in North Dakota as well.
And I think a good thing to remember is that this is the only one that's happening in the state. And so because we are here and it's being held locally, we have kind of just an added benefit to not have to travel far to attend. And so it's a good idea to take advantage of it when it's here.
Yep. Because it's going to be held over at BSC in the
Energy Center.
Energy Center. Thank you.
Probably up on the top floor.
Yeah.
Yep, sounds right.
Yeah, that's worth admission right there, just being able to see the view from there.
Yeah. But some of the guest speakers was able to pull that up is Morris Morrison from Morrison Global Brands. He's going to speak about discovering how the ability to thrive is directly connected to the ability to change. Greg Tevin from Emerging Prairie, he's speaking about leadership that is needed to build the city you want to live in. And then a panel of past participants of statewide leadership programs will discuss the impact they had from their conferences experiences. And of course, they'll have breakout sessions with national and state leaders and different Ignite talks that they'll have. So it just sounds really interesting. Mm-hmm. So
definitely something people might want to get involved in.
Yep. So Otherwise, what else do we have?
Well, I
We
guess
have 2 minutes.
We have 2
we have
minutes
2
left.
minutes, yeah. Well, I was going to say one thing that I could draw people's attention to, a program that's been kind of ongoing is called Nourishing Boomers and Beyond. And so if you are a baby boomer, this might be of
That would be
special
me.
interest
I'm
to
one
you.
of them.
Yeah, there's lots of us around, I guess. And you know, they keep changing the years, so more and more people become part of that. It's a program where we have different topics each month. And I have talked about some of the presentations that I've offered in the community. But if you're interested in going online and finding out more information, you can go to www.ag.ndsu.edu/boomers. And when you go there, you can choose any of the topics. And one of the new things we have there is with each topic, there is a 10-question quiz and I think it's always fun to see how much you know. And so the focus for January is on muscles and keeping our muscles healthy. And so you can go and check that quiz out. And then you can also register to receive an e-newsletter that will just automatically come to you each month in regards to whatever topic is being focused on that month. And so that might be a fun thing to get, and then even share with other coworkers or so on. Or that could even be the focus of just a learning time at your work site. So keep in mind that option too, and then definitely check out that quiz to see how much you know or how much you don't.
Yeah.
And then feel free to contact me if you have any questions about any of the topics. And if you are at a work site who's interested in finding out more about a specific topic, I should be happy to come and do a presentation for your work site also. Next month's topic, of course, is heart health.
And we're getting the cue that we're wrapping it up for today. And we will talk to you again in 2 weeks.